This video will show you how to do the practice test for Chapter 3 for the mid-chapter test. So it is mid-chapter, which is sections 1 through 4. So for question number 1, you're looking for the places in which the function is increasing. So that's the first part of it. So you're looking for when the function is going upward, if you're reading this from left to right, like you would read a piece of paper. So it's going up from the vertex and then everywhere to the right of the vertex. We're really just looking at the x value, so it's going up in this area. So it's going up where x is greater than 3. If you want to write that in interval notation, you can write it from 3 to infinity. Okay, if you want to see that highlighted, it's in this area where it's going up. For where it's decreasing, then it has to be the rest of it in this picture anyway. It's decreasing to the left of the vertex. So this graph, if you're reading it from left to right, which is how you read the increase and decreasing, you read the graph from left to right. It's decreasing to the left of the vertex, so where x is less than 3. In interval notation, you would say from negative infinity to 3. In interval notation, you always have to write the smallest number first, so you wouldn't write from 3 to negative infinity. You have to write from negative infinity to 3. For the next portion, which is where the f of x is greater than 0, so when that means above the x-axis. Okay, so it's above the x-axis. Once it hits here, it's above the x-axis over here, and the graph is above the x-axis over here. So that means that if you look at where the numbers are, okay, to the left of 2 and to the right of 4, the graph is now above the x-axis. So the left of 2 means that x is less than 2, so all the numbers less than 2, and greater than 4. So x is greater than 4. In interval notation, you would say from negative infinity to 2 and from 4 to positive infinity. If you're looking for where f of x is less than 0 or below the x-axis, it's below the x-axis in this area, okay? So only down here. So it's between 2 and 4, okay? So when you would write that, you would say where x is greater than, that's not negative 2, that's positive 2. So between 2 and 4. You cannot write the answer to 1c with the numbers in between because it doesn't logically make sense. And so here you can write it like this. You can also say from 2 to 4. For the next part, when they're asking you for end behavior, that's exactly what they're doing. It's like which way are the arrows pointing at the end of your function when you draw the graph. So this all has to do with what the degree is of your polynomial and what the leading coefficient is. So here the degree is 3, so it's odd. That means the ends are going in opposite directions. And the a value is negative, or the leading coefficient is negative. That means that it's sloping downward, kind of like a line would slope. Okay? And so for the end behavior, when it's asking you the question here, as x goes to negative infinity means as we go to the left, what's happening to the graph? And it's going to positive infinity. It's going up. So that would be plus infinity. As we're going to the left, or as x goes to positive infinity, this graph is moving downward. So that goes to negative infinity. For number 3, this is an even powered, or an even degree. It's 4 is a degree of the polynomial, and it's positive. When it's positive and it's the fourth, it's like a parabola. Both ends are pointing in the same direction, and they're both pointing up. Okay, so that means that both n behaviors are going to positive infinity. Okay, even when you go to the left, it's going up, and when you're going to the right, it's also going up. For numbers 4, 5, 6, and 7, they're matching. And so, again, you're kind of looking just at their n behavior and if they're odd or even. So for number 4, it's an even function, just like this one. The leading coefficient is positive. That means that both ends must go up. So for number 4, it has to go with C. For number 5, it's a negative leading coefficient, just like number 2. It's an odd number, which means it's sloping downward, so that one has to go with A. For number 6, it's a negative x to the 4th. Both ends have to be pointing in the same direction, and they have to be pointing downward because it's negative. Which means that the last one has to be, that's a positive x to the 3rd. I guess it doesn't have to be, but it is. Positive x to the 3rd, it's going upward. And one end is going up, one's going down. So it's sloping. So your answers to these are C, A, B, and D. For number 8, we have to find f of negative 3. The easiest way to do that is synthetic substitution. However, you can also use direct substitution. I'll show you both methods. So synthetic substitution would look like this. Make sure you use all the coefficients and use any placeholders when necessary. This one doesn't need placeholders. So we have negative 3 times negative 3. We add on the way down, multiply on the way up. Add, multiply by negative 3. And negative 120. So f of negative 3 is equal to negative 120. If I was doing direct substitution, if you were doing direct substitution, this is the work that I would want to see. Negative 3 times negative 3 to the 4th. You would fill in the negative 3 for all the x's. And then you would show the work. So this would be negative 3 times positive 81. Negative 2 times negative 27. 5 times 9. Plus 21 plus 3. Negative 243. Plus 54. Plus 45. We add those together, plus 24. These are all positive. They add up to positive 120. So that gives me negative 120. So same answer. F of negative 3 is equal to negative 120.